All right, 101, week 8, part 9. Um, Another thing you got to do is quote stuff that you can actually get to. A lot of my students be like, I found the perfect quote, but the library can't bring me the book for 2 weeks. Don't quote that. Just find something you can actually get to. And we'll talk more about this when we talk about how to find things on the internet. But you want to find a book or an essay where you can read the whole thing online, probably, since you're working from home and you're probably not going into a library. So you want to be able to, and I'm not saying you have to read the whole book and the whole essay, but like I was saying, you need to, since you need to read a couple of pages before the quote and a couple of pages after the quote to make sure you understand the quote, then you're going to need an essay where you can actually see the whole essay on the internet, or you're going to need a book where you can actually see the whole book on the internet. You don't have to read the whole book, but you better be able to read a couple pages before and after the quote. So find things you can actually get to. So a lot of that is going to mean, in your guys' cases, it's going to mean using the internet. There is a smart and a stupid way to use the internet. I'm going to show you a smart way to do it. So for starters, let's talk about website addresses. You know how a lot of website addresses end in .com? Did you ever wonder what com means? It means commercial. Commercial means they're trying to sell you something. Remember what I said about people who are trying to sell you things are less trustworthy? It doesn't mean they're all liars. It doesn't mean you can't quote them. But the more things they're trying to sell you, the harder they're trying to sell it to you, the less trustworthy they are. So you gotta but you can still quote, you can still use them. You just gotta be a little bit careful. How much advertising is there? So for example, like if you look at like the New York Times, the New Yorker, those have some advertising in them. They try to sell you stuff, but not that much stuff. Some stuff, but not a lot of stuff. Whereas if you get like a People magazine or a Cosmo magazine, that whole thing is trying to sell you stuff. So that makes People and Us Weekly a lot less trustworthy than the New York Times or the New Yorker, because Us Weekly, Entertainment Weekly, is just the whole thing is trying to sell you stuff. Pick up a beauty magazine, and the entire thing is designed to make you feel ugly so that you will buy beauty products. So you got to keep an eye on how much things people are trying to sell you. But so just when you see .com, it means they're trying to make money. Now, places like New York Times and the New Yorker deserve the money, because if you look up the names of the people writing the articles for the New York Times and the New Yorker, you will find they are experts. That makes them trustworthy. But with People magazine, sometimes they don't mention the name of the author. And if they do, the author's not really an expert. Why? Because the magazine's really designed to sell things. That's how they make their money, is with the advertising. Okay. I'll tell you this. You're going to hate this. A lot of students feel guilty, like maybe they should be watching the news more, like Fox News or CNN or whatever. And I hate to tell you this, but TV news is garbage. It's garbage. It's not really trustworthy. Why? Because TV is all about trying to get you to buy things. The whole point of television is they want to keep you entertained so that you will watch the commercials. That's the way it works. So that's why, think about this. This is one of the biggest problems in America. I'm getting a big shit today. One of the biggest problems in America is that TV is designed to sell shit. And that means news, even CNN and Fox or whatever, are trying to sell you things. Well, what's wrong with that? Well, nothing really big, except for it is really big actually. What's wrong with them trying to sell you stuff? Well, the problem is that if you change the channel, then they won't be able to sell you things. So that means their goal is, news theoretically, the point of news should be to keep you informed so you can make good decisions about what to do in your life, about who to vote for, about what to spend money on, about, should be mostly voting. But keep you in an emergency, they need to keep you informed about what to do during, say, COVID or a hurricane, right? That's what the news should do. Give you information so you can make good decisions about who to vote for and what to do in emergencies like hurricanes and pandemics. The problem is that because the news is designed to sell you shit, if the news is supposed to keep you informed, then you recognize from being in school, you know this, sometimes being informed is boring, right? Like I'm trying to keep you informed. I'm trying to teach you things that'll better your life, but it's a little bit boring, right? I'm teaching you how to do a good job in school, but like it's boring and you kind of don't want to watch this anymore. You want to turn it off. The news is like that too. What if they tell you about tax law? That's an important thing you should know about, but holy shit is that boring. And if it's boring, you're gonna change the channel. And if you change the channel, then you're not gonna buy any of the stuff, and then the news company goes out of business. So how do they fix it? Well, what they do is they don't teach you about tax law. They spend their whole time talking about murder, because murder will get people to watch shit on TV. Sex scandals, that'll get people to watch shit on TV. So when you should be, and with weather shit, they're like, it's the storm of the century, it will destroy us all. Fear. Fear, sex, and murder, and fear get people to watch the TV. But that's not the best, most trustworthy information, because they're just trying to scare the shit of you. They're trying to scare the shit out of you, and they're trying to get you to watch. So, for example, they will spend. Imagine you're a news company, right? And there's important tax law shit, but it's like math. So, are you going to you can teach your audience about tax law and math and percentages and shit, so they can understand who to vote for in the next election. Or you can tell them about this woman who put her kids into the trunk of her car, and then she pushed the car in the ocean and she drowned the kids. And there's an interview with her, and then there's an interview with a girl she went to high school with to find out, like, why would she do that? But do you see that, like, how is that news? That's not you don't need to know about this woman's psychology so you can live your life. You need to know what to do in an emergency and who to vote for. But what to do in an emergency and who to vote for is often really boring. But people really want to know, why did that woman drown all her children? What could have been going through her mind? And so they focus on the woman and the children she drowned, or the airplane that disappeared for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, because they're trying to get you to watch, because they want you to see the commercials, so you will buy shit. Also, scared people buy shit, because you're scared you got a problem, solve the problem by buying shit. So TV news is actually kind of garbage. It's just not trustworthy. And a lot of the people delivering the news, they're not experts, they're just pretty people who read the news, but they're not like journalists exactly. They don't do a lot of research, they're just good-looking people on television. Less trustworthy. So this is a major problem with TV news. So where should you get information from? Well, .com is they're trying to sell you things, and you have to decide based on the individual publication if the .com is okay. Sometimes a .com like New York Times or New Yorker is good, but sometimes like People Magazine, not so good. .org means nonprofit, more trustworthy. .edu is educational. That's real fucking trustworthy. Harvard.edu, bmcc.cuny.edu. That shit's trustworthy. That's good. That means somebody's checking to make sure this is like worth quoting. .ac.uk is like .edu in England. So these are more trustworthy things. And if you want to know if something's trustworthy, just click around the website, find out who put this website together. Google the names of the authors of the story. Google the publication to see, do they publish a bunch of lies and garbage, or are they actually trustworthy? I get all my news from the New Yorker and the Atlantic, because I think those are the two most trustworthy publications with all the experts, and I love them. I don't watch Fox News and CNN because they're constantly trying to sell me shit and scare me, and I think that's stupid. So the point is, there's a lot of different things in the world that you can use to kind of figure this stuff out. Okay, cool. I think we did pretty good. We're almost at the end. Good job. So teachers have said don't use Google, and that's sort of true. But when you go to Google, but you can use Google to find out who people are, research the names of people to see if they're trustworthy people. You can use Google for that, no problem. But the trick with Google is when you go to Google, type in Google Scholar, enter, and then click what you get. And that'll take you to a slightly different website. It looks a lot like Google, but it's called Google Scholar. Google Scholar will bring you better stuff. So I think it's literally like scholar.google.com, and it's better. There's also books.google.com, which will bring you books that you can read on the internet for free. It's great, except they just put any book up there, so you're going to have to check the author of the book to make sure that person's trustworthy. Just because they put it up there doesn't mean it's worth quoting. But that'll get you a lot of books and a lot of cool things in there. So scholar.google.com and books.google.com. But again, with the books, you got to always check the authors, check the websites, and make sure they are trustworthy. And be specific, right? Try to find something specific to your paper. So don't do research on love in general. Do something specific that like abusive relationships, get statistics on that kind of stuff, and then make sure it's coming from somewhere trustworthy. Okay, I'm going to pick it up in the next video with a little quiz thing. I'll see you there.